I recently undertook Ahmed Odori's 100 head challenge, where you're supposed to draw 100 heads in 10 days, which comes down to 10 heads a day. I both succeeded and failed at this. Here's a quick view of the Pinterest page that they set up for us to dig into. If you keep watching, I'll explain everything. But first, let's get right into it with the very first head. I started off extremely zealous, I will say. Perhaps even overzealous. I grabbed my Col-Erase colored pencil, and I was just kind of itching to use markers because I really love drawing faces and coloring them with markers and giving them blush, and you know, it's really fun. I started with this very first head, right up my alley, a girl looking to the right, or just slightly to the right. Sketched it out, even added in some Copic marker, like I said, and some line art on top of that because, I mean, it looked a little dead without it, let's be honest. And realizing it wasn't quite perfect, I also used some white Posca pen to just tweak some things and add some highlights, and at this point I was already 30 minutes in and I had one head done. 99 left to go. Back at it with head number 2. I again used a Col-Erase pencil, assuming I was going to add marker and line art and all the beautiful stuff. I actually really enjoyed drawing this head. I like the straight on aspect of it and the way the cheeks form. My camera's haunted.
Oh, let's look over here where there's nothing. What a creative choice.
Even added in some color and realized this is starting to take a bit of time. So I kind of cheaped out on the color and then just added some line art and then realized I didn't really want to do line art. So I stopped halfway through that and moved on to head number 3. Next one, I knew full well I wasn't going to add color, but I still used the Col-Erase pencil just because it's kind of fun to sketch in pink. Let's be honest. Here she is. She's looking slightly down, an angle I definitely struggle with, and this challenge helped me out with. Definitely forced me to draw way more different angles, which I really appreciate. Next up, another one out of my comfort zone, a nice chiseled man face. Definitely struggle with these. I really tried giving it sharp edges to kind of help look different from my normal style and kind of grasp the reference photo best I could. I also find it really intimidating to draw straight on, just because you really have to get the balance right or they're gonna look whack. Also, his body's below him, so the way the angle and perspective is, he's got this really big head and the body's all tucked in underneath, and I decided to draw little feet just for my own personal pleasure, but there you go. Number 4. Next one is also a straight on, but the eyes were way bigger and it gave me definite anime influence, so I feel like I definitely ran with that and brought my own style into it too. This reference was really cool because of the colors, but I was trying not to use colors because they take too long, but I couldn't help it. I did end up just using pink because I'm well, I sketched in pink, we'll use pink, but the reference was blue, so I did end up bringing in some blue, but not a lot of blue, just a hint of blue to remember in my heart. Finishing up the first page with our 6th head and whatever this is. I don't actually know, but I drew it. It's a face, though. There's a face in there. There's just also some other things. And boy, did they give me trouble. Anyway, let's just move on to a different one. I don't know if you're ever just looking at photos ever and you just see one and you just know you want to draw it. It doesn't matter if you have to. You just know you're going to. That's how I felt about this next reference. Something about the chin, the cheek, the chiseled features, the femininity, the nose, the hair. I just was excited about it. So you can see I drew it a lot bigger than the rest. I'd say I took my time with it, but I ended up spending the same amount of time on this one as I did with the weird pointy one. Yeah, that one. But I'm much happier with this one. Just feels like if my style was a person, they might look like this. And it's just, I really like it. Moving upwards to this tiny little corner, we're gonna squeeze a head in here. She looks a little concerned. She's all right. We talked it through. She's over it now. She's forgiven me. I still don't really know what it is I did, but we're good. We're good. Everything's fine. This girl, I've also had to talk to her. I told her I wasn't really appreciative of the way she was looking at me. I don't have the same feelings for her. Luckily, everything went smoothly and we're also good, so no need to worry. This one, I swear I followed the reference. The neck is that bendy. I think this is something people can do, but boy, does it look weird. I also had a lot of fun drawing the nose. It took a few attempts, but I mean, look at it. It kind of looks like we're looking slightly up it. And it also looks nose-shaped, unlike what I normally draw, which is just a
little button for a nose.
I definitely got into drawing noses over this challenge, and I think you'll see there's like a growth, then it like dies, and then it kind of slowly comes back from the grave. My nose drawing abilities. So keep an eye out for that. I fit 2 more heads on this page. This half underwater lady, which again, really enjoyed this. I love heads that are like a 3/4 view. I draw them all day and night as it is, so they were just a joy. I still, just because they are very similar to what I usually draw doesn't mean I didn't like learn something from them, because they definitely have, just drawing from references, you're going to find differences from what you would do when you don't use a reference, because you're like, oh, didn't think of that. The way the forehead kind of protrudes a little different, or the way the nose and mouth actually line up is a little bit different than I usually would, you know, things like that. And then there was this one. I don't know what to say. Her eyes are bleeding. She has an appointment tomorrow. Hopefully the doctors can do something about it. We're very hopeful. Thoughts and prayers are appreciated. So that was day 1. I came in really strong. I got 12 heads done in one day. I just didn't want to stop. I really enjoyed these ones, which was probably good, because it turns out they put all the like girl faces at the beginning of the Pinterest page. So I get a little deep in it later, and it gets a little tougher to sludge through. We got a good start. Day 2, we started off pretty strong using just a pencil. Yeah, those exist too, and an eraser, of course. Drew this younger looking face. When I started this challenge, I was kind of promised a variety of races and ages, but I think all of the young ones I did on this day, because they were all kind of clustered together. Just like with my real life children, I have personal favorites with my drawing children as well. In this challenge, this is one of them. And it's not like something that I draw very often, so the fact that I like looked at a reference and then I was able to recreate it and it looks good and like kind of like the reference makes me happy. Looks great. Looks like a very attractive man. What else do I say? Okay, let's move on. I don't have any children. Number 15, I started off very loose and ended up chiseling away quite a bit, and the face shape kind of changes. As you can kind of see, like with each iteration, it looks just a little bit different and a little closer to the reference. What I liked about this one is it felt like it was a slightly older version of number 13. At least that's how I envisioned it, and it kind of like gave me a little more inspo. I don't need to keep talking, it's fine. Which then carried into number 16, which I feel like was another like age jump of the same character, and I just found that really fun to kind of just envision that, oh, this is the same one growing up, because all 3 of them I think were sculptures, so they could have been by the same artist. I didn't pay that much attention. I was too busy drawing them, but I feel like I can definitely see like a timeline here, and I find that very cool. I shoved another face right in here. I think the nose turned out really nice. Thank you. I agree. Figured why stop there. Can draw another little head. Here's another one. If you haven't guessed, there's gonna be a lot of them. Quite a fan of this one personally, but I can't dwell on it. I got a lot more to go. At this point, I was like itching to use markers again, so I grabbed my Colorase pencil and drew like a really big head, because I saw this reference photo and just the tones inside the skin, like it was like a pale skin, but it had like, I could see oranges and pinks and blues and greens in it. So I was like really inspired to color it. But I didn't. I didn't really have time for that. But since I had drawn one large pink head, and it turned out pretty well, I decided to draw another large pink head on the same page. I don't know, something like, it's a bit of a like creative way to fill out the page. I like the way the spread looks. Something I really like about drawing in a sketchbook is just kind of focusing on the composition of the pages, which as this challenge progresses, kind of gets thrown out the window. All right, day 3, we've lost my 2-head advantage. We're now with 20 complete heads. Starting day 3, I decided to line up all my sketches with a ruler so there'd be like 9 equal-sized squares and draw each face in it, because I noticed coming up there were a lot of head-on faces, and I thought, oh, they could all look like kind of like mug shots or something. They seem small and square to me, so I decided to do that. Really trying my darndest to just keep the elements even, because I feel like that's where you can really go wrong when you're drawing a face head on like this. Next one, just as I promised, head on as well. Guess I didn't lie. I really was enjoying the noses and the eyes and the mouths, honestly. I love drawing faces, so I figured this was probably a good challenge for me, especially to like go out of my comfort zone and draw ones that I've never drawn before. Number 23 had an interesting haircut that I struggled with. I feel like I saw it in the reference a little different. I also noticed that this model I drew previously, this was the one that I had beef with. This is where we kind of got along. You can see she's kind of softened up towards me. Just more proof that we're good, we're good. The next one's face twists just a smidge, but they're still looking right at me, so it counts. I really wanted all the heads to be like the same size so that you could kind of see their different features, because they're kind of like all the same, but then you you can notice the differences because they're also the same. Does that make sense? I really liked drawing this one's hair though. Very fun. And the lips, the way it's like biting. Like, when do I draw that? Like, this is great. I love it. Then there was this one. Definitely never drawn anything that looked like this. I really like the way this one turned out though. I think the pencil, like I sharpened it just enough or something. It just turned out great. 26 actually ended up being probably in my top 3 favorite heads. Something about the eyebrows, the way the head's looking slightly up and it doesn't look weird, and the way the hair is like close to the scalp but doesn't look weird in any way, and the way the ears are kind of low on the face because the character's looking up but it doesn't look weird in any way. You're catching the drift. It's also really pretty, and the little flyaways. This next reference had a lot of color in it, and I was kind of inspired to maybe color it. So I started with the Colorase pencils, which kind of wish I didn't. I wish this page was just all uniform in the same color. But, you know, gotta let the heart do what the heart wants to do. Twitch. Oh. Clearly I was not happy with the way this one was turning out. I guess now that I've drawn 100, I don't care if one doesn't look that great, so I'm over it. But I do think this is where I started developing a strange fascination with adding like facial moles to people. I just think it's beautiful. Now, the reason I didn't quite like the last one was actually because I drew the face a little too elongated, and I realized that, you know, halfway drawing it, so I was like, okay, this next model, I'm gonna really try and just capture the actual facial structure of the model. Okay, so, and this one was turning out a lot better, and I was much happier with it, and then it came down to like adding in the little moles on the face, and I realized this is the same person. So you can kind of see the difference and maybe why I wasn't so happy with the previous one. Like, they kind of looked similar, and like obviously the little moles and stuff. It's more about the like relationship of proportions to each other and how different a person can look if you draw like one feature too far or the chin too long, or, you know, things like that. Ended up finishing this day really strong, maybe a head short, but very, very happy with the way this 9th head turned out. I think I've actually drawn this reference before. Like, I must have bumped into it on Pinterest by myself, so maybe that gave me a little bit of an advantage, but ooh, I'm just so happy with it. It's just a nice blend of realism and my style, and I love it. Another day, another week maybe, new nails. But I'm gonna draw some more heads. We're currently weeks and 1 head behind in our daily challenge, so I've got a little ground to make up. Started with the purple Colorase pencil, and we got down to business. It's a portrait, which I usually really enjoy, but it's also like looking down into the left, which is a struggle, but I think it turned out pretty good. Blue hair, because you saw the highlighter. It couldn't just sit there, okay? I had to use it. The composition of this page ended up being one of the sloppier ones, but here's another head, just like directly in the middle of the page. I don't know what I was thinking. Also used a little pen, you know, because like it's the beginning of the day. I'm still having fun. I got time to use pen. Next one is another one of my personal faves. Really love the way the hair turned out. I like the way the head's kind of looking upwards. Very similar to like that other one that I was gushing about, just the way it doesn't look weird. And usually when I draw heads with this sort of angle, it does. So very happy with that one. Another profile. I really like where I put this on the page. And I had a lot of fun working on the structure of like what protruded from a face. I mean, I guess that's how any profile would look, but for some reason I was more conscious of it, and I had a lot of fun, and I really like that nose. I think it turned out great. Squeezed one more head in right here. I really like the addition of the pen on this one. I went very quickly with the pencil, and then when I started adding in the pen, it just like really came together. It feels like almost out of nowhere. You don't need to worry about her either. She was just about to take a nap. She fully recovered from her 22-hour travel day. She's fine. But thanks for your concern. Breaking free from pencils and pens, I decided, why don't I just sketch with the highlighter? So I did. I feel like this gave me a lot more freedom to kind of draw lines that I necessarily wouldn't have, because it is so light. Probably why they call it a highlight. And then on top of that, I basically added a second sketch layer of pen, and ooh, look at those eyes. I don't know what it is. Sometimes it just works, and it was working. Face number 36, decided to do the same thing, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Again, turned out pretty good. Had to like work on the top of the head. It ended up being a little too long at one point. Used some white gel pen and kind of just slowly tweaked that, and eventually I was a little happier with it, and I was able to move on. Still riding off this high of like the highlighter pen combo. I started on this guy. Fun to draw, I will say that. Definitely out of my comfort zone. But yeah, it turned out great. I think the highlighter pen combo, it's just magic or something. Because like, when would I be able to draw something that looks like this? Ever. And it actually looks decent. Yeah. Turning the page, we got a new page. I think it's also a new day. Working on the 38th head on day 4, so we're about 2 behind already. Figured maybe I could cheat the system and still gain the magic by just skipping straight to purple pen. I think it worked worked pretty well. Thinking I'm onto something, worked on another head. This is a very long face. I was really having fun with these strange, like sculptured faces. Definitely nothing like I would ever normally draw. And I think that's what made them fun. Going from a very long face, we went to a very round face. Again, really enjoyed this one. Turned out very similar to the reference, and I'm very happy with it. Then from those two, we moved on to like this K-pop star looking one. I think I did a really good job of it, if I do say so myself. Apparently, I don't have footage of me drawing number 42, but there it is. Enjoy it. I said enjoy it. Thank you. We can move on to number 43 now. The next two were very beardy. We had this guy with a nice long curly beard. Lots of fun. And then this one with an also equally rivaling beard. That's all I have to say. Then that was followed by this very beardless one, but this one had longer scalp hair. Is that what you call it? Then there was this one. I'm not entirely sure what to say. There's a lot of concern on the face, I think. I also like the little leaves in the hair and the beard. I think the pen magic definitely did the trick today. Turning the page, but not a different day. I drew Colonel Sanders, I guess.
Now I want fried chicken.
I went with a lilac Tombow pen for the sort of highlighter trick, and then went over with pen, and I had similar results, so I'm thinking it actually is magic. So try it for yourself. Little highlighter, little pen. You never know what's gonna happen. I don't know why I'm talking like that. So naturally, did the same thing with the next one. Sketched with the little Tombow pen, then went over with some pen. Very happy with it. I don't know what it is. It's just magic. Clearly not gonna stop there. Drew this one too. Same thing. Really had fun trying to capture that like beard, the way it like protruded from the chin and created that really fun shape, as well as the nose. Yeah, I think I'm learning I like to draw certain features, and these were two of them. Next head was a statue, and it was like directly on, so there's like no pupils, which kind of just added to like,
I'm already a little creeped out by like straight on faces, and now there's no pupils.
But I'm okay with it because it turned out great. We'll get over that. Easy peasy. Finishing up with my magic Tombow pen combination with this face with a little low bun. The low bun was not in the reference. I decided to add that little creative liberty. I think it was a very good choice. Quite fond of it, as well as the freckles. Very nice. Another lifetime later, as you can tell by the change of nails. Although we are 2 heads ahead now and about 3 months behind. But the daily challenge is still there, so I'm holding on to it. They're just not going to be consecutive. This one was very chonky. Decided to draw the next head in yellow. Very bad choice. I know you can't really see it on camera. I also could not see it in real life. But I did end up going over it again with the red pencil, which whenever I add a second sketch layer, it always turns out better. I mean, just look at the highlighter pen combo magic. Second sketch layers are going to be your best friend. Trimmed him down so he fit on that same page with Mr. Cigar, and taped him in with some little penguin washi tape. Yay! Much happier with the way Man Bun turned out versus Cigar Dude. I decided to continue the impossible to see yellow pencil and then layer that with the red. It reminds me of being much younger and getting the kids menu and having the crayons, and you like sketched with the yellow crayon and then you went over it with the blue or the red as like a line art. Fond memories. Did the same thing with the next two. We got Bandana Dude, and pretty sure this is Angry Gimli, which, I mean, if you've seen the movies, he's normally angry, so it's just Gimli. Now that I was on a new page, I felt like I could move to maybe just pen. Kind of quicken the pace a little, maybe. So we've got the 3 ponytail tendril bead bang Ray wannabe. Then we've got head tilt. Does this count as an expression? Turtleneck. Groot's dad, or as I was calling him, I am not Groot. Thought that was funny. And finally, Disney princess hair clutching chest. What do you mean?
I woke up like this, I swear.
And there was this head, which I just found the footage, and it's another head that I drew. So here, look at that one. Okay, enjoy. All right, moving on. And then at this point, I realized I skipped an entire spread. So now, even if I fill this with heads, they're not going to be in the right order. And do you understand how many heads I've drawn? And to end up with a space where the heads are out of order, it's just a lot, okay? And I'm gonna deal. Maybe in a month or so. That's right, I took another month off. I feel like that just best illustrates how distraught I was. So you can see, new nails. I didn't want to draw on this page that had all of this marker shadowing on it, so my solution was to draw on a bunch of sticky notes. First up, we got a nice beard, very swooshy, fun to draw. I like the way I kind of chopped it and then added like triangles cut into it and then added in the beard shape. I don't know. Then we had this beautiful troll. Love it. This goat looking person that had a lot of hair, not just on their head, but like also their forehead, eyebrows, and like their cheeks. Remind me of Tumsies. Tumnus. A fawn, by the way. Species I was thinking of. This very, very old person with a very skinny neck. Then we had this one, another head-on face, but I feel like it's distracted by this beautiful headdress. So I got through that one pretty unspooked. I did end up kind of like arranging the sticky notes and just making sure they were properly stuck. And there we had 5 heads. And I moved on to the page where I missed the pages. And we drew some heads in there using a pink coal erase pencil. I drew this one. Looks a little bit like Frankenstein. I really enjoyed drawing like the stitches and like the cracks in the skin. This guy was really fun with like the 4 braided beards. Like, do you realize how thick that hair would have to be able to have 4 thick braids? I don't even think I have that much hair on the top of my head. Just saying. This next one I'm pretty sure was a photo of like one of those dolls. I don't know what they're called, but like with the big eyes, and like you make clothes for them and they have joints and that sort of thing. So there's like really large eyes and like this realistic hair and everything. I feel like I struggled with this one. It turned out a little creepy, but I mean it's also a doll, so dolls can be creepy. Then we have this very hairy, round-faced, bearded guy. I feel like he looks like every actor that's ever played St. Peter in a Jesus movie. Just me? I don't know. 71 though, this was fun. Like when I had finished the sketch in the pink pencil, like I wanted to do more. Like I just knew I couldn't leave it there. But I also was like running out of time for the day to sketch heads. So I ended up just adding a little pencil to my favorite features, or just the ones that I thought could use a little extra tweaking, like the eyes. So there he is. Figured I could squish at least one more head on this page. And it's this person with their eyes closed. The actual image is like all of these like shades of orange, which is really pretty and does not translate to just a pencil sketch. I'll say that much. These next 2 are jugs, I guess. And I think they're supposed to be like drunk jugs. That is not easy to say. But we have this like tall, skinny one with a mustache and a cigar. And then we have this rounder, short one, also mustached. Then I jumped to the top of the page and did like this fedora cigar dude. I really liked the mouth on this one. The teeth were very odd, but it was definitely an interesting draw. Then we had this Mr. Hyde looking character. I mean, it could be. Definitely has like a, you know, that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde vibe going on. The coal erase pencil sketch didn't do it near justice. So I did end up going over that one with some pencil. And it helped a little bit. Realizing I needed to draw 3 more in this day, I decided to divide the leftover space into 3 squares and just squeeze them into there. We've got this one. Nice. Very descriptive. I really enjoyed the top one because I could do like those details on the headdress. And then the second one, I really love that pointy beard. Like it? And then the third one is a lot younger than anyone I'd drawn in a bit. So that was very fun as well. There we go. 3 heads. Oh my gosh, digital. I just needed a break. I needed to do something different. So I hopped on my computer on the second to last day and I drew some digital faces. Starting out with surprised jester girl with a hat that has feathers in it and it's kind of orange. That's this one. Again, that neck, like, ow. Mine hurts just looking at it. Then we had this one. Is that Voldemort? No, it's not. This one has a nose. But yeah, with a little rendering on top, it does start to come together and look a little more human. Next face was a little younger. Ended up rounding out the face a lot. I'm copying the reference, obviously, but I just had to add that little blush. This one turned out pretty good, too. And the hat. Oh, so cute. This one was actually another one of my favorites. I really like the way the face turned out. It's also a similar angle to the previous 2 favorites. Maybe I just like this angle. I don't know. But I also really like the braids and the flyaways and the freckles. Wait, did the other ones have some of those similar features too? I'm only just now realizing this. We got another beardy dude with a very interesting nose. I'm not sure how you would describe that. Is that like the hook nose that they say in like books? I'm not sure. But there's also a lot of beard going on and a whole lot of ear as well. Then there was this one. It was another pupilless one, and I gotta say, looking straight at me without the pupils, it got me this time. I couldn't do it. I had to give him pupils. Oh, it was making me so uncomfortable. Really enjoyed this one. I kind of think a lot of it comes down to just the color I chose to sketch in, because like adding in the blush and everything, and then kind of painting around the face a little bit more. I just really enjoyed drawing this one. I would have spent longer on it if I didn't have other heads to draw. I'll say that much. Then we had this guy. I really enjoyed drawing him, like the fine lines and the larger wrinkles on the face, and like really trying to capture the reference. I think this one was a sculpture or a 3D render. I can't remember. But yeah, this one took me a while. I think it took the time of the last 3 sketches put together. So you can see I took my time on it, and I think it paid off. This next one, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is Jack Sparrow's dad. Yeah, the bandana and like the little bead things. That's what made me think that. Could be wrong. But this one is definitely hands down 100%. Lock it in. Final answer, Gandalf. You can't tell me otherwise. We had Gimli and Gandalf now. Double G's. Ooh, 15 hours in. We are in the home stretch. I'm going into day 10. Obviously not consecutive. Okay, I understand. I did tape in all of my digital sketches onto one of these pages that had markers showing through, because like, what else am I gonna do with it? And I feel like when you draw digitally and it's just a sketch and you don't even end up saving the file as an image, it just stays a Photoshop file and then you never look at it again. Whereas if I print it out and I kind of just tape a little in my sketchbook, the chances of me seeing it again are much higher. And I just kind of want to keep all 100 heads together, okay? I decided to draw all 10 of the remaining heads on one piece of paper. It's also the same size as my sketchbook, so I'm just gonna like glue this in once it's done. But I started in the top left corner. I really like the eyebrows on this one. It's another one of those drunk jugs with the little spouts on the top. Very cute. Also not cute at all, which is kind of what makes it cute. I don't know. At this point, I was really running out of heads. Like, I'm going through the Pinterest page and I'm like, I must have missed one. And I'm like going back and I'm finding a couple that I missed, and then I'm running out again. And this one was actually on the bottom. I kind of was saving it for later because it wasn't a dude and I've been drawing a lot of dudes. So I was trying to like space out the more feminine faces. But then I realized I couldn't really find any more faces at all, so I had to use them, even though there weren't enough to finish the 100 yet. But here's another one I really like. This was another, I think, a doll. I don't know, it was like a photo of something someone definitely made. I don't know if it was a sculpture or a doll, but I loved it. I loved the shape of it. Like, the whole body was in the photo, but like I didn't have room for it, so I just settled with just the head. That's the challenge anyway. Then we had goggles over here. Really liked drawing the beard and the way the chin like comes out of the beard and the nose. Like, there's something I really like about drawing beards with like that nose. I also am just a huge fan of the 3/4 view. I don't think that even needs to be said. I did try to jump to the right side of the page, but I realized my hand's gonna be going over this and spreading graphite all over the place, so I erased that. And just went ahead and drew one of the few faces remaining in this Pinterest board. Nice simple one. Not too many like unique features on this one. I feel like it's very similar to a lot of the faces that I drew in the first couple days. Might be the same person, I don't know. At this point, I couldn't really find any more heads and I just needed to draw. So I kind of drew my own head. I mean, it's not my head, but like, it's a head that I drew without a reference. Did I cheat? I don't know. Scrolled through the Pinterest board again. Still couldn't find any heads that I hadn't drawn. So I decided to just redraw one. Let me know if this one looks familiar. I did draw it a little differently. I tried to like make it more my style. You know, since we're getting near the end, it's time to like try and use this information and influence it into my art style, right? I don't know. Then I actually did find another reference in the Pinterest board. It's like a mime, I guess. I really like the vintage hairstyle and the makeup, so I really tried to capture those two elements specifically. Oh, and of course the like ruffle thing. Finally drawing that head I tried to draw a couple heads ago. This is actually the same sculpture of that guy with the 4 braids. It's just from another angle because I think there were 4 or 5 in the same picture and I didn't realize that the first go around, so I found a new angle and I drew that one. And coming in the 100th head, I decided I was just gonna draw my own head. Again, not my head, a head from my imagination. So basically, I drew a head in my style, added a couple features I liked, then I scrolled a little bit and looked for a head that I really didn't like the way it turned out. And it turns out that was the, is it Jack Sparrow's dad? I don't know. So I ended up just bringing some of those features into this head, which ended up being the bandana and the little jewel thing, and then the hair and a little bit of the collar. So it was kind of just an homage to my least favorite head that I drew, I guess. So yes, that is it. I'm a little delirious. Here's the live moment when I finished. I think you can really feel all the emotions. Then I just used a glue stick and stuck her right in there and I was done. Take a little look-see through this 10-day, 3-month journey. I think I started this in January, if that paints a picture for you. So there it is, all 100 heads. As you can see, some spreads a little prettier than others. Definitely a big fan of that highlighter pen combo. Served me well through the whole thing. I don't know why I didn't just do them all like that, but yes. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I feel a lot more comfortable drawing different facial features than I did going in, so I feel like that was definitely the whole point of this challenge, so I definitely recommend it. Even if you're not very challenge oriented, maybe just pull up the Pinterest page. I'll have it linked. Draw a couple that speak to you and one that doesn't, maybe. Have a little fun with it. Anyway, I'll see you guys all next week, and I hope you have a delicious evening full of waffles. Bye!